What a whirlwind year we've had so far. Motorsport has been postponed, called off, or completely cancelled across the world. All is not lost, as we've seen real-world racers put their skills to the test in various esports competitions. Today we're looking at 10 awesome sim games you can get into right now for your racing fix. This is just our list, and you might have a different order of games that you think are better. We'd love to see what games you're playing and what we should be playing, so let us know in the comments after watching our top 10 list. I'm Super Cheap Sheep, and without further ado, let's get into it.
10.
F1 2019. No doubt you've seen the likes of Charles Leclerc, Nico Hülkenberg, Lando Norris, and a handful of other F1 drivers strap themselves into F1 2019 for a little esports action to fill our lives with some kind of F1. With the full F1 2019 season, cars, drivers and tracks, and a small dusting of classic cars and drivers, F1 2019 is the official licensed game from Codemasters. F1 2019 is quite the polarizing game. Some claim that it's a sim, while others say it's just Carmageddon with F1 cars. Like it or loathe it, F1 2019 has a strong esports scene with leagues across the globe.
9.
Forza Motorsport 7. Surely you've heard of Forza. It's been Xbox's answer to sim racing for over 15 years, where each version has gotten better and better. In recent times, Forza has become playable on Windows PC, starting with the spin-off series Forza Horizon 3. And now every Forza game since 2016 can be played on PC. So that's worth a few points, right? Other than that, Forza is certainly a simplified sim, but hey, if it's got the ability to turn off driver aids and use as a wheel, it might be a good entry-level game for you to transition from arcade races to proper sims.
8.
Gran Turismo Sport. The only console exclusive on this list, GTS is the best sim that consoles have by far. By now, I know a lot of you will be debating the value of GTS over Forza, so let's hear your thoughts in the comments below. Gran Turismo is PlayStation's answer to Forza. While it has been running much longer than the Forza franchise, it's not been able to hold the market share over its Xbox rival. Maybe because it's a little more sim than Forza? Oh wait, did I say that out loud? Hey, don't hate the player, hate the game. GTS is a great game if you love GT and Japanese touring cars, with a great selection of cars and tracks from across the globe. In recent times, GTS has had some heavyweight endorsements from one Lewis Hamilton,
7.
Project Cars 1 and 2. Yes, I've listed Project Cars 1 and 2 together as they are very similar games from Slightly Mad Studios. Released a few years apart, it's hard to tell where Project Cars 1 stopped and 2 began. Probably the biggest draw of Project Cars 2 would be an online community. Alas, Project Cars 1 is still a great game to race against some AI, but you'll be waiting a while to join a server with other people. The best thing about Project Cars 1 is the tyre model. What on earth did they do with Project Cars 2? It can be tricky to master, and it's like driving on ice. But if you enjoy that sort of thing, where the road cars slip and slide through every corner, then Project Cars 2 is your game. Just look at these videos. Do you know which is Project Cars 1 or 2? Post your thoughts in the comments below. Now you may notice that we have not included Project Cars 3, and that's partly because it isn't out at the time of recording this video, but more so because it is without a doubt 100% an arcade racing game. We can detail why this is the case, but that's a whole other video.
6.
Dirt Rally 1 and 2. Another combo where each game has its merits. If you're into rallying, then Dirt Rally 1 and 2 have you covered. If you can only get one game, make it Dirt 2. There's a lot more content and a few more online racing options over Dirt 1. The online scene is pretty rubbish, as you can only do a few small events in Rallycross with your friends on track at the same time. Or just look at the lap times in a rally event. Cool. Codemasters have certainly dropped the ball, as we used to be able to catch cars in rally mode in the original Colin McRae Dirt series. Ah, those were the days.
5.
iRacing. To many, iRacing is the elite of sim racing games. The online-only racing sim is used by world-renowned drivers as a test bed to hone their racecraft. Some have gone so far as to shun other would-be racing sims out there, as they don't compare to iRacing. iRacing has had significant growth in users thanks to Lando Norris, Max Verstappen and the NTT IndyCar eSports series that have seen a full field of real-world IndyCar drivers battle it out in iRacing. With laser scan tracks and manufacturer spec cars, iRacing has the realism dialed up to 12. But just like real motorsport, iRacing is expensive. Like, really expensive. Not only is iRacing a monthly subscription fee, you have to pay for any additional cars and tracks. And if you want to ever dare race with your friends, then be prepared to pay by the hour just for the pleasure of racing online with them. Yes, I know there are those out there who say that sim racing is expensive, and iRacing is certainly the poster boy for that. But if you've got the cash, then iRacing is hard to beat. Just get out of rookies in D class as fast as you can, as even iRacing can't escape to torpedo arcade races from wrecking your race.
4.
Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione. Before you smash that thumbs down button, know that both Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione are fantastic time trial games. In fact, they're probably the best time trial sims we've ever played. If you want nothing more than to blast around a great selection of real world and fictional tracks in a raft of racing machinery, then Assetto Corsa has you covered. Where it lacks is the sparse roster of servers for online racing. ACC, on the other hand, has a bigger following these days, but the range of cars doesn't quite hold a candle to the original AC. That is, unless you want to race nothing other than GT cars. Unless you're in a league, you'll almost always only find practice sessions online, where you drive around and around and around and around and around and never actually race. On the upside, the modding community is alive and thriving, offering up some absolute gems in both tracks and mods. So if you want to drive around Donington Park 1930s layout in a modern F1 car, you can do that. Or perhaps you want to take the Bluth stair car for a lap with the Nordschleifer. The modding scene is one of the best and most active in the sim world. Finally, the physics are pretty darn good too. So if nothing else, Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione have you covered in terms of driving feel.
3.
Perhaps the newest entry on this list, Automobilista 2, or AMS2 for short, has certain reaches of the internet calling it a Project Cars 2 clone. Developer Resia Studios have rebranded their much-loved franchise into the Project Cars 2 engine. AMS2 was released on Steam in early access before transitioning to a full release a lean 3 months later. The content is lacking a little polish right now and servers fluctuate in popularity, but it sure is a pretty game in 2020. It's early days for AMS2, but if you're looking to support a smaller developer who have a proven track record of making top-notch racing games, then give AMS2 a go.
2.
R-Factor 2. Just like iRacing, R-Factor 2 has had massive online growth in the last few months, thanks in part to the Legends Trophy with The Race. This has seen a whole raft of past F1 drivers compete for a virtual trophy and a donation of $10,000 each week to charity. Like Assetto Corsa, R-Factor 2 has a vibrant modding community, so there's never a shortage of content on offer. Perhaps the salty lining is that it's hard to make sure you have the same content as the server you want to join. Fortunately, the single player aspect of R-Factor 2 is right up there with a fantastic tyre model, great AI, and did I mention, no shortage of content. If you have Steam, just click on any item you like in the Steam workshop and poof, it's ready for you in the game. One thing that holds R-Factor 2 back from being truly great is playing with friends. It's near impossible to set up a server and play with friends without a degree in computer science. Dedicated servers need port forwarding, static IPs, your ISP needs to allow your static IP to be seen if you're on a fiber connection, and so on. It's really quite a nightmare to get multiplayer working with friends. Honestly, the amount of time my friends and I have spent trying to get a server running so we can play together would top out a normal working week. If the developers at Studio 397 could streamline this process, then R-Factor 2 would be edging out our number one on this list as the best racing sim out there. Before we get to our number one, let's look at some other sims that didn't quite make the cut for one reason or another. Euro Truck Simulator 2 and American Truck Simulator. Well, these fantastic sims aren't really racing sims, at least not in the traditional sense. You don't exactly race other drivers, but you can drive blindingly fast from pickup to delivery, if you don't mind, speeding fines, broken goods, and traffic crashes along the way. Also, does anyone actually have an H-pattern shifter with 18 gears? No, I didn't think so. beam.ng Drive. Like Wreckfest, beam.ng Drive is a crash simulator only dialed up to 100. It isn't exactly a racing sim either, so it couldn't make this list. Also, it's still in early access after like 4 years, so if they ever finish this game, it could be absolutely worth checking out. Hopefully they add proper racing too. Beam is a game to look out for in the future, and here it is, this is our number 1.
1.
Automobilista. Just like her younger, hotter sister, AMS is Brazil's answer to sim racing. With many exclusive tracks and cars you probably won't find anywhere else. The base content is loaded with Brazilian racing cars and tracks, but there's a fair sprinkle of other excellent tracks and cars from around the globe, both past and present. AMS is easily the most underrated sim out there that deserves some light thrown on it. Yes, it is based on the original R-Factor engine from 2006, but with all the updates it looks better than iRacing with a comparable tyre model to that of R-Factor 2. It has the best AI we've seen in a sim racing game, and a good roster of unique content. This makes AMS the best value for money sim on the market. Since AMS is built on the original R-Factor engine, there are hundreds of mods out there that are compatible for both R-Factor and AMS. The online community has waned in recent times, but there's plenty of fun to be had in single player or making servers to play with friends. Give AMS a go, you won't be disappointed. Well, that's our list of 10 sim racing games you can buy in 2020. Did we miss one? What's your favourite and how do you rank these sims? Let's all meet up in the comments below to discuss our sim racing pleasure. If you like our content, why not subscribe and be sure to ping that little bell so you never miss a video from us. Catch you in the next one. Bye for now.